Today, we're going to continue our journey into one of the most dramatic and emotional chapters in the Bible, the story of King Saul's envy towards David, and how God's favor upon him changed the course of Israel's history. Part 1. David joins Saul's service. After David's victory over Goliath, his life changed forever. King Saul brought him into his court, and from that day forward, David no longer returned to his father's house. But something extraordinary happened. Prince Jonathan, Saul's own son, became deeply connected to David. Their souls were knit together in a friendship unlike any other. Jonathan loved David as his own life, and to seal this bond, he made a covenant with him. He even removed his royal robe, his sword, his bow, and his belt, and gave them to David as signs of honor and trust. At first, everything seemed to be going well. David was well liked in the palace. The women sang of his many victories, and even the king gave him his daughter's hand in marriage. But all of this was only the beginning of a much larger story, a story full of twists and turns that would change the history of Israel forever. Part 2. Saul's jealousy awakens. One day, after returning from battle, the people of Israel came out to celebrate. Women filled the streets with tambourines, dancing and singing with joy. Their song echoed through the land. Saul has slain his thousands, but David his tens of thousands. When Saul heard these words, jealousy burned within him. They give David more honor than me, he thought. Next, they will hand him the kingdom itself. From that moment on, Saul looked at David with suspicion and fear. How could this young man who was once so beloved by the people and himself be a threat to his reign? What had started as curiosity quickly grew into resentment and then into hatred. And this hatred would lead Saul to do things he would later regret. Part 3. The Spear in the Palace. The very next day, a troubling spirit came upon Saul. Restless and tormented, he sat in his palace with a spear in his hand. As usual, David was called to play the harp, soothing the king's soul with gentle music. But suddenly, Saul's thoughts turned dark. Now is my chance. I will pin David to the wall. In a sudden outburst, he hurled the spear at David, not once, but twice. Yet both times David escaped unharmed. From then on, Saul removed David from his presence. Deep inside, Saul knew that the Lord's Spirit had left him and was now with David. Fear took hold of him, and fear soon gave birth to hatred. How could he stop this young man who seemed to have God on his side? Desperate for help, he turned to a medium, seeking to uncover the future and find a way to get rid of David. Part 4. Saul's plot. Still determined to see David fall, Saul devised a new plan. He thought, better that he dies at the hands of the Philistines than by my own. So, he placed David as commander of 1,000 soldiers, hoping the constant battles would claim his life. But the opposite happened. With every battle, David returned victorious. The people of Israel and Judah loved him even more, for he led them with courage, and the Lord's hand was clearly upon him. Saul watched as the people praised David, and his heart filled with bitterness. The more David triumphed, the deeper Saul's despair became. Part 5. The Marriage Deception. Later, Saul promised his eldest daughter, Merab, to David. But David humbly said, "Who am I, from such a poor family, to become the king's son-in-law?" When the time came, Saul broke his promise and gave her to another man. But Saul's younger daughter, Michal, truly loved David. When Saul discovered this, he saw another opportunity for a trap. Yes, he thought, I will give her to him, and through her, the Philistines will destroy him. Saul's servants approached David in private, saying, "The king delights in you. His daughter loves you. Why not accept the honor of becoming the king's son-in-law?" But David replied, "How can I, a poor and humble man, provide a dowry worthy of the king's daughter?" Hearing this, Saul gave his servants a deadly message. "Tell David that the king requires no dowry. except the proof of victory over 100 Philistine foreskins. In his heart, Saul hoped David would die trying. Part 6. David's Double Victory. But David was not afraid. He accepted the challenge. Gathering his men, he went out against the Philistines, and instead of 100, he defeated 200. He brought back the evidence before the king, fulfilling the price twofold. Saul had no choice but to give his daughter Michal to David as his wife. Yet Saul's heart was crushed. He saw more clearly than ever that the Lord was with David, and that even his own daughter loved him deeply. Saul's fear turned into bitter hatred, and from that day on, Saul became David's enemy for life. Part 7. Lessons to learn. This story is not just about Saul and David. It is about the danger of jealousy and the blessing of God's favor. Saul had every chance to remain king with honor, but envy poisoned his heart. Instead of rejoicing that God had raised up a mighty warrior for Israel, he sought to destroy him. David, on the other hand, remained faithful, humble, and obedient to God. Even when hatred surrounded him, the Lord's presence gave him victory. The greatest lesson for us is to guard our hearts against envy and bitterness. When we compare ourselves to others and desire what they have, we open the door for negative emotions to enter our lives. However, if we focus on our journey with God, trusting in His plan and purpose for us, we will find true fulfillment and peace. Remember, God is the righteous judge, and in His hands are the destinies of all people. Let us therefore leave it in His hands and walk in His ways with humility and faith. And so we come to the end of this powerful story. We have seen the rise of David from a young shepherd to a great hero, and the beginning of his deep connection with Jonathan, the son of Saul. We have also witnessed the transformation of Saul's feelings towards David, from admiration and acceptance to jealousy and hatred. What struck me the most in this story is the strong bond between David and Jonathan, a friendship based on mutual respect, trust, and love. In a world where rivalries and conflicts often dominate, their relationship stands as a beacon of unity and brotherhood. I believe that the love between them can serve as an example for us today, showing us the importance of cherishing genuine and sincere friendships. We must learn to appreciate those who are by our side, supporting and encouraging us on our journeys through life. Friends, I invite you to reflect on the values of friendship, loyalty, and love that we have seen in this story. How can we apply these teachings to our daily lives? Remember that every friendship needs care and attention to grow. As David and Jonathan showed, investing time and effort in our relationships will reap great rewards. At the same time, we must be prepared to face challenges and adversities alongside our friends, demonstrating solidarity and support in difficult moments. Moreover, it is essential to cultivate mutual respect and understanding in our relationships, recognizing the uniqueness and value of each person. As David respected Jonathan's status as heir to the throne, and Jonathan respected David's gifts and abilities, we too must learn to appreciate the differences and similarities that make each of our friendships special. Finally, let us remember the importance of forgiveness and reconciliation. As the story unfolds, we see that misunderstandings and conflicts arise between the characters. However, it is up to us to seek dialogue, empathy, and understanding to overcome differences and restore broken relationships. May the story of David and Jonathan inspire us to build lasting friendships based on love, loyalty, and respect. Until next time, may God bless you and guide your steps. Keep these valuable lessons in your heart and put them into practice in your daily life. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, may God keep you in His care.